Post ka ng gulo. Let's continue with the next slide. Okay. Everybody, ala na kamo? Ha? Are you around?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's try to finish the module, and then at least we take up one straight problem only. And then I think only one problem will do. So by next meeting, by tomorrow, I'll give you the discussions of the other problems and the multiple choice. Okay, there is reconciliation of reciprocal accounts. As of any given point of time, the investment in branch and the home office accounts must have equal balances. If these accounts do not balance, reconciliation procedures must be prepared. So it's just like preparing your bank reconciliation statement. Reconciling the reciprocal accounts similar to bank reconciliation procedures. Reconciliation items can be broadly classified into the following. A. Transfers in transit. At the time financial statements are prepared, there may be asset transfers between the home office and the branch which were not yet recorded by the supposedly recipient. For instance, there may be shipments of inventory made by home office which were not yet received or recorded by the branch by the end of the reporting period. The adjusting entry would be simply debit to shipments from home office and probably to freight in also, and the corresponding credit to home office account. Now, usually you have your mga in-transit nga mga shipments. B. Unrecorded debit and credit memos. A debit memo sent by the home office to the branch means that the home office has debited or increased the investment in branch account. Therefore, the corresponding entry to be made in the branch books is credit increase to the home office account. The opposite applies to a credit memo. For example, when the home office collects accounts receivable on behalf of the branch, the home office would record the transaction as a debit to a cash and credit to the investment account. And therefore, to notify the branch of the transaction, the home office will send a credit memo to the branch. The branch will in turn record the credit memo as a debit to the home office account and a credit to accounts receivable. Okay, for that purpose. A debit memo sent by the branch to the home office means that the branch has debited or decreased the home office account. Therefore, the corresponding entry to be made in the home office books is a credit or decrease to the investment in branch account. The opposite applies to a credit memo. For example, when the branch returns damaged merchandise received from the home office, the branch would record the transaction as a debit home office account and a credit to shipments from home office account. Therefore, to notify the home office of the transaction, the branch will send a debit memo to the home office. The home office will in turn record the debit memo as a debit to shipments to branch and a credit to the investment in branch account. A tag in the recording, a lag in the recording of debit and credit memos can result in imbalance in the reciprocal accounts on the cut-off date. And the last one, which may be the cause of the reconciling items, is error. Errors such as omissions in recording, double recording, mathematical mistakes, and the like can result to imbalance in the reciprocal accounts. Home office with several branches. As mentioned earlier, when an entity has more than one branch, separate investment accounts for each of the branches shall be maintained in the home office books. Each branch shall maintain its own home office account and shall record its own transaction with the home office. Transactions between a branch and the home office will not affect the records of the other branches. However, errors may arise if a transaction between a certain branch and the home office was erroneously recorded by the home office to another branch investment account, or a branch erroneously records a transaction of another branch with the home office. Now we go to special problems in accounting for branch operations. In addition to the general procedures discussed earlier, the home office and branch may enter into some transactions that would create special accounting problems. Such transactions are the following. 1. Merchandise shipments to branch billed at a price above cost, and you have the inter-branch transactions. Although these transactions do not affect general purpose financial statements, they require some special accounting for internal reporting purposes. Okay, we have now the shipments. Actually, in the illustrative problem, the shipments of the home office to the branch was made at cost. Now this time, how about if the shipments to the branch are made at above cost? So what will happen if the shipments of the home office to the branch are billed at a price above cost? Billing to the branch may be made at amounts above cost or cost plus an arbitrary percentage, also known as the billed price. Information on actual cost is withheld from the branch. Thus, upon receipt of shipments, the branch records the merchandise received at the billed price rather than at cost. This is solely for internal reporting purposes, so that when comparing the profitability of the business units within the company, the home office contribution to the company's profit through procurement, manufacturing, and other functions made centrally are not disregarded. When shipments are billed at cost, the entire gross profit earned by the branch is attributed solely to the branch. On the other hand, when shipments are billed at above cost, a portion of the gross profit earned by the branch is attributable to the home office. For example, let's say your mama gives you and your little sister allowance based on your respective grades in school. However, you are obligated to tutor little sister, help her in her homeworks, fetch her from school, cook dinner, wash the dishes, do the laundry, and many more. Now, would it be fair if Mama gives you a little markup on your allowance to compensate for your extra hard work? Yes, of course, right. Same is true with the home office. You, the branch, little sister, and the company, the mama. It should be noted that a shipment to the branch, even at bill price, is not a sale. Shipments are recognized as sale only when they are sold to external parties. Therefore, any markup on shipments made to the branch must be eliminated when combined financial statements are prepared. This is necessary to restate the cost of goods sold and ending inventory of the branch to their original cost. Combined financial statements, shipments at billed price. When combined financial statements are prepared, the markups on shipments are eliminated in order to restate cost of goods sold and ending inventory to their original cost. This is performed by eliminating the shipments to branch from home office accounts together with the related allowance account. The investment in branch and home office accounts are also eliminated. Now, will you open your books to problem 11, no, 13, chapter 13. You open your books to problem 3, page 1045. Page 1045. Sinihan yung... Yan, sunod lang di ba na? Hindi ko sunod di. Yung pag-alam sa talon. Kaya nga daw, hindi ikaw na nag-alo kaya man. Sunod. Eh, mo ko ka rin energy mo, mo ko ka rin. Gusto na to. Inong to tuwi. Kaya ako sunod di. Kaya ako, ano yung isa lang ako, black mo, black pagkabuwa. Sunod. Abu Juli go.
Sobrang tibi.
Stop at 11:15. Okay. Okay, we go to 11, problem 3. You find the problem? Now, so far, this is a long problem with the following requirements. Prepare journal entries to record the foregoing for the branch and the home office. Number 2, prepare individual statements for the branch and for the home office. And number 3, prepare combined statements for both. And 4, prepare journal entries to adjust and close the books at the end of the month for the branch and the home office. So let's now go through the data of the problem before we begin. A balance sheet for Eagle Company is January 1, 20x4. So you have now the beginning balances for cash, accounts receivable, allowance, merchandise inventory, furniture and fixtures, and its accumulated depreciation. Liabilities are accrued expenses and accounts payable, and we have the shareholders' equity, common stock, and retained earnings. On this date, that was January 1, 20x4, a branch sales office is established in Tagaytay. The branch is sent the following assets by the home office. Okay, so we have cash, merchandise, store furniture and fixtures used by the home office, cost 3,000, age 2.5 years. Depreciation rate used in the past, 10% a year. The cost of shipment and installation, 900, is paid by the branch. This cost is to be written off over the remaining life of the asset. The equipment accounts are to be carried on the books of the home office. Okay, take note of this because sometimes the equipment account may be kept in the books of the branch. Accounts receivable, accounts arose from home office sales to customers in Miami. The branch is authorized to take over the accounts and makes collections. Home office and branch transactions with outsiders during January where. So you have sales on account, collections, purchases, payments of account and expenses including accruals as of January 1. The following took place with respect to accounts received by the branch from the home office. Collections were made, accounts were uncollectible and written off. It's believed the remaining accounts of 850 are collectible. Inter-office transactions during January were merchandise shipments, cash remittance. The following are available and to be recorded on January 31, the end of the month. Merchandise costing 600 was shipped by the home office to the branch in January 31. It's still in transit and reaches the branch only on February 2. This shipment is not included in transfers previously mentioned. B. Expenses that are paid by the home office during the month and that are chargeable to the branch, total 475. These are included in the 9,200 amount. C. Depreciation on furniture fixtures is recorded at the rate of 10% a year. And D. Merchandise inventories, excluding those in transit, are given for the home office and the branch. E. Accrued expenses are for both. So let's now begin with the journal entries to record the foregoing transactions of both the branch and the home office. So let's now have your journal and as well as your adjusting entries for the home office and the branch. Let's begin now with column home office books and branch books for the intercompany inter-office transactions. So we now begin with intercompany and inter branch transactions. Okay, January 1, books of the home office, debit, branch current, 1,500 and credit cash. Debit branch current, 1,500 and credit cash, 1,500. Now you create two columns. One is home office books. Second is branch books. So on January 1 entry A, debit branch current, 1,500 credit cash. The entry of the branch, debit cash, credit, home office current. So we will just call it BC for branch current and HOC for home office current. B, merchandise. Okay. Cost 10,200. The entry of the home office, debit shipments to branch at cost and credit to BC. Debit shipments to branch at cost and credit to BC 10,200. The branch now will debit HOC 10,200 and credit shipments from home office. So debit HOC, credit shipments from home office for 10,200. Next, letter C. The entry of the home office is debit store furniture and fixtures, thus branch. Store furnitures and fixtures, thus branch, 3,000 and credit. Store furnitures and fixtures. thus branch. So debit, store furnitures and fixtures, thus branch, 3,000, and credit, store furnitures and fixtures. Store furnitures and fixtures, 3,000. In the books of the branch, there's no entry for this because it is stated that the home office account or the home office carries the equipment accounts. So only the home office had entries. For the second entry of the home office is to debit accumulated depreciation, store furnitures and fixtures, 750. Debit accumulated depreciation, store furnitures and fixtures, 750. And credit accumulated depreciation, store furnitures and fixtures, thus branch. So credit accumulated depreciation, store furnitures and fixtures, thus branch for 750, computed by multiplying 3,000 by 10% times 2.5 years. So 3,000 times 10% times 2.5 years. So that's why you have 200 and 750. Now, there is no entry for this in the books of the branch because the equipment and the accumulated depreciation accounts are kept in the books of the home office. Okay? And the cost of shipment is to be shouldered, to be paid by the branch. So the entry for 900 in the books of the home office is to debit store furnitures and fixtures. Thus branch, debit store furnitures and fixtures, thus branch, and credit to BC. Credit to BC in an amount of 900. The entry of the branch is to debit HOC and credit to cash. Debit to HOC and credit to cash by 900. By 900. And for letter D, we now enter in the books of the home office, debit branch current or BC, debit BC, 2,600 and credit accounts receivable. Entry of the home office again, debit BC, credit accounts receivable. Entry of the branch, debit accounts receivable, thus home office, debit accounts receivable, thus home office, and credit HOC, and credit HOC for 2,600. For 2,600. Okay? Now, the next set of entries that we are going to prepare are already the entries regarding transactions with outsiders and the intercompany, inter-office transactions during the month, and finally for the adjusting and closing entries. So we now go to the transactions with outsiders from January 1 to 31. Now, the home office and branch transactions with outsiders during January 1st. January. Okay, let's begin with the column, first column. Are the transaction entries of the home office with outsiders. Debit, accounts receivable, credit sales, 34,600. The branch, debit accounts receivable, 6,200, credit sales. So they have the same debits and credits, but with different amounts. These are not intercompany entries, but entries regarding transactions with outsiders. So second entry, debit cash, credit accounts receivable in the books of the home office, 40,000. In the books of the branch, debit cash, credit accounts receivable, 2,600. Next entry, purchases on account in the books of the home office, debit to purchases for 31,600 and credit to accounts payable, 31,600. Entry of the branch, debit purchases, 3,000 credit accounts payable. So they have the same debits and credits, only with different amounts. Next, payments on account, the home office debits, accounts payable, credit cash, 36,200. The branch debits, accounts payable, credits cash, 1,450. And the last entry, payments of expenses, including accruals. So the entries now of the home office, debit to accrued expenses. Accrued expenses for the credit balance of accrued expense. So we debit that by 250. And debit expenses for the difference, 8,950, credit to cash, 9,200. Repeat for the entry of the home office, debit accrued expenses, 250, debit expenses, 8,950, and credit to cash, 9,200. The entry of the branch, debit expenses, 1,250 and credit to cash. Okay? So these are the entries related to the transactions of both in connection with outsiders. Next, we go to the intercompany, inter-office transactions. Intercompany, inter-office transactions from January 1 to January 31. From January 1 to January 31. Okay, the following took place with respect to accounts received by the branch from the home office. Collections of 1,600 were made, accounts of 150 were uncollectible, and were written off. It's believed that remaining accounts of 850 are collectible. So we now have the entry first in the books of the branch. Debit, cash, 1,600, credit accounts receivable, home office. Now, you will notice that in our previous entries in the books of the branch, we debited accounts receivable, home office, and credited home office current by 2,600. Now this time, the branch is collecting partially 1,600. So the entry of the branch is to debit cash, 1,600, credit accounts receivable, home office by 1,600. Okay, now the entry in the books of the home office. The home office will debit allowance for doubtful accounts, 150, and credit BC. Debit allowance for doubtful accounts, 150, and credit BC. The branch will debit home office current, credit accounts receivable, home office, 150. The branch will debit home office current and credit accounts receivable, 150. Next, we have the intercompany, inter-office transactions during January. Merchandise shipments to branch at cost, So the entry of the home office is to debit shipments to branch at cost 1,250 credit BC. So debit shipments to branch at cost 1,250 and credit BC. The home office entry. Then the branch will debit HOC or home office current credit shipments from home office 1,250. Next is for cash remittance to home office. The entry of the home office is debit cash 1,000 and to credit BC. Debit cash 1,000 credit BC. The branch will debit HOC 1,000 and credit cash. So debit HOC and credit cash 1,000. Now, finally, we go to adjusting and closing entries of both. So, we have now the adjusting entries. So, again, you create two columns. Column 1, home office books. Column 2, branch books. Okay, for adjusting entries, letter A, in the books of the home office, we now debit to shipments to branch at cost 600. That's now in January 31, additional information. Debit for the merchandise in transit. The entry of the home office is debit shipments to branch at cost 600 and credit BC. The branch will now debit HOC 600 and credit shipments from home office. So debit HOC credit shipments from the home office. And letter B, we have now for the expenses paid by the home office. Here, we debit now BBC 475 and credit expenses because this was included in the expenses above. So letter B, debit BC, 475 credit expenses. In the books of the branch, debit expenses, credit HOC, 475. Debit expenses, credit HOC, 475. Letter C, we now debit for the amount of 35. Debit to BC, credit accumulated depreciation, is store furnitures and fixtures of the branch. So in the entry is in the books of the home office, debit BC, credit accumulated depreciation, store furnitures and fixtures, branch 35. So how did we get 35? Now we get 3,000 divided by 10 is 300 times 1 over 12. That's 25. And then we have 900 divided by 7.5 years equals 120 times 1 over 12. So we have 25 plus 10. That's why you have 35. The entry of the branch is to debit expenses, 35, and to credit home office current, 35. So branch again, debit expenses, 35, and credit home office current, 35. The next entry of the home office, still as part of entry C, debit expenses 100 and credit accumulated depreciation, store furnitures and fixtures, its own, not the branch. So debit expenses, credit accumulated depreciation, store furnitures and fixtures for 100. Computed as follows: 15,000 minus 3,000 equals 12,000. 12,000 divided by 10 years equals 1,200 per year times 1/12. So you get 100. Again, debit expenses, credit, accumulated depreciation, thus store furnitures and fixtures. 15,000 minus 3,000 equals 12,000 divided by 10 times